Last time on CIP.
Just because my pants started falling down.
I decided to get, I think, 2 or 3 chili dogs.
It's just that I can't think.
My system was like, we got reserves, we're okay.
I just fell over on the ground. I just passed out.
Tonight's guest is Morgan Jones, a Dungeons and Dragons enthusiast and all-around nerd.
I promise.
Ooh.
Well, I have upstairs the I call them the Wheaton dice because they were actually rolled by Will Wheaton, and he says he has a curse. Yeah.
Right, that's what I was gonna say the same thing.
Yeah, they're cursed. And so but I have them and I've kept them. Like I bought them special and then I was like, roll these please. I will never roll them again, but you know, you can roll them for me,
what
please.
you're supposed to do is give them to somebody else you're playing against.
Yes.
And let them curse themselves.
That's a good idea.
It's a gift. That's a great idea that I will never do because I'm evil. But it's a great idea.
Says Ari, who gave me the idea. But okay, yeah, yes, I love it.
Yeah, but I didn't act on it.
Fair. You didn't. You did not act upon it.
Yes.
So I would just like to point out real quick that Nate is wearing a very, very pretty shirt. He's a very handsome man. He's just trying to upstand me every day. Every chance he can, he wins.
Yep. Yeah, try to upstand it. Like we end up wearing the same thing half the time. I'm surprised you're not wearing a collared shirt right now.
That's why I was like, you should have told me. I would have dressed accordingly. It's speaking of accordingly and pretty and beautiful and segues. Our guest Morgan is here.
I am a segue.
She's our segue. Also, she gets a special prize because she is the first person to appear on like 3 of our shows all in like the span of about a month. So yay, hat trick! That's official hat trick. Official hat trick.
Oh, yeah.
So congratulations for being our Tom Hanks of our SNL. If that makes any sense. It doesn't.
The Tom Hanks of our SNL?
Yes, the Tom Hanks of our SNL. Yes. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're excited to have you back on the actual real show because this is what you were designed for. For those who don't know, Morgan is the inventor of D&D and the inventor of nerdcore culture, all by herself.
Wow, Gary Gygax is looking great these days.
Gary, yeah, I tell you, if I was
on my resume and my Wikipedia page.
All right. So, Sergey, to shut me up, do you have the dice available to roll?
Yeah. Yes. Oh, shit. Sort of. I'm looking at them. I just need to do one thing that I forgot to click. Yeah. Okay. Yes, I do.
All right, brother.
Okay.
Whenever you're ready, brother.
This is 1d10 because I always have to check. Okay. I just rolled a 1. Anyway.
You did.
Yes.
in honor of Ari. Okay. So this is one. It's myth. We actually haven't done myth before. Brand new category for us.
Okay.
Fantastic.
I'll go ahead and put that in the genre.
All right. You said myth?
Myth. MYTH.
Okay, cool. And we'll see if I remember that. Okay, rolling it again. 1d10. 4.
Ooh, okay. So 4 is, now we did this one a while ago and it came back in the rotation because everything else has been done. It's small town.
Okay. Okay, so the next one, and okay, what's the next? Oh, the next one is the.
So yeah, it's the big list. So do you want to break it down by like?
Well, don't we do time first? Past, present, future.
Oh yeah. You're right. We do time first. Yeah.
And for this, I roll for those of you who are curious, I roll a d4, and then we just ignore 4, which I have rolled. So I'm going to ignore it.
But by the way, we have to mention first that Nate was talking about how he had a cursed set of dice from Wesley Crusher, the Will Wheaton, and apparently they found their way into our
yes.
die bag here.
Well,
so.
They're right above me. They're in the room above me, so they're.
You can pull them down.
Yes.
But
yes,
I've successfully rolled a 2, so
okay.
Present.
All right. Yeah, present. Yeah.
You got me a present? I'm kidding.
I did. You earned it.
Yeah, but only in the future.
Oh.
Okay. Oh, geez. I'm like updating the the thing, and it's already present. So last time we did that, we did present. Okay.
Yeah, present last time too.
Okay, so now this is the big old list, and this is where I do. Yeah. Okay. So we'll do.
Just however you want to field it, brother. However you wanna field it.
Okay. So we'll do it like this. I'll do it a little differently today. Okay. And how many? It's what, 300 or 200 and some?
200 and what's the total? 289.
Okay, we're gonna go with 264 as the first one.
Really? Nice. That's definitely hasn't been
Finally.
Oh, it is fantastic choice. It's Temptress. It is Temptress. So we have Myth and a Temptress and a small town. This literally sounds like a Disney Plus show starring Wanda.
All right, rolling it again. Okay, 171 is the next one.
Good ass roll. Good ass roll in your face, Wesley. You said 171?
171.
171. None. It's a none. N-U-N.
None.
Not N-O-N. N-U-N.
Oh, didn't we already have a nun?
I thought we did it. Yeah, we did.
We
That was the.
did.
Yeah, we had
Okay,
a nun
so
in like an
mouse
animal
nun.
parable.
We did. That was a while back. But so yeah, so we can do another roll then. Yeah. We can do another roll. That's fine.
All right. Let's do it. 154.
So we had this as well. This is
Christ on a
Minister.
cracker.
The thing is, I think we had Minister. That was with Adam's story, right? With the
Yeah.
werewolf.
Oh, yeah.
But that was also
yeah,
in
I think it was like
that wasn't
Preacher or
in the
something.
abridged list, which is why it came up differently. So it's
All right, let's try 162.
okay. All right. Muse. We haven't had a Muse, straight up Muse though, have we?
Muse?
A muse?
Muse, M-U-S-E.
Yeah, Muse. Yeah, okay.
All right.
We haven't had one of those, right? Just
No.
straight up Muse. Okay.
Okay.
Perfect. All right. And that is it. And that's
Okay.
a perfect setting. And then also we have our main archetype, which is of course Morgan's character, our guest's character. So before we get into that, before we have Morgan have the floor, I'll just go ahead and do a quick recap and everything. The genre we rolled for was myth. The setting we're in is a small town. The time period is the present. Archetype number 1 will be Morgan's character. Archetype number 2 is a muse. I'm sorry, and archetype number 3 is a temptress.
Cool.
Okay. So, Morgan, whenever you're ready, just tell us to regale us with your character. The floor is all yours.
My character, Yulin, has a ridiculous name. She is a druid, or druidess, or both, if you will. A charlatan of sorts. Very good with people, easily gets her way. Just able to work people like that super easy. She's a changeling, so nothing's set in stone with her, which is awesome because she is wild. All
right.
Okay.
And roughly how old is she? How old is this character?
So being that they age more like humans, we're 32. We'll go with my age.
Okay. All right. And thank you for divulging the age-old question. How old are you? Okay.
You'd
And
never know it.
Bitches, of
I
course.
too am a changeling.
One other thing too is for those who don't know, this is a character that Morgan has from her days of playing D&D. Is there any kind of a little story or an adventure that she's been on you want to tell us about? Just to kind of fill in her background.
So my character was from a Christmas campaign that I did with my brother and our friends back out west. And Yulin actually fought and defeated Santa Claus, who was actually a red dragon.
Oh,
I love it.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's why you're here.
My favorite Yulin moment, it's really awful, but it's so funny. Like in hindsight, it makes me giggle with glee. So she's chaotic neutral. So,
Okay.
no real, no good, no evil, but just chaotic. So we went into this one room at one point and it was filled with elves. So not elves. They were more like brownies, because actually Santa was a member of the Unseelie, Fae court. It was a really cool story. So they're like brownies, and those were Santa's helpers, and they're all in this room, and one got touched and he just fell over dead, right? So Yulin starts walking through the room and just touching them to see if they still die. And then like I'd pick one up and touch them with another elf and they would still die. So I was just like seeing.
Perfect.
Like, one of my favorite moments. I just walked through like seeing if I like, what am I touching with this stick? And at the end, like after the whole thing was over, and they like I killed Santa Claus.
Of course, naturally.
So
As one does.
after that happened, the creatures that were Santa's helpers, they had been like transformed. So some of them were humans, some of them were orcs, just all kinds of creatures that were transformed by magic to be slaves essentially in Santa's factories. They all like came back, and I was like, well, what about the ones? And my brother was like, no, they're dead forever.
There's no green. There is no hope. This story is all macabre. I love it. So that's a fantastic story, and it's kind of adjacent to this in a way as far as myths and then tempestuses and muse. So we could have it that the first thought that came to my mind when you're telling that story with this character is that she could be could be almost like she's kind of like Kratos in that she's a not mythological creature slayer, but like kind of a folklore slayer. Yeah. If she kills Santa Claus,
Santa Claus is almost godlike, so we could call her a god killer. That's fine.
Yeah, we can call her. I mean, she can be a god killer too. Why not?
Fine with that.
Yeah. So we can definitely have that.
Well,
I do like the idea. Oh, sorry.
You go ahead.
Okay. I like the idea of keeping her origins as a changeling, because we can easily fit that in with like Temptress and a myth.
Yeah, that's it's designed for it almost. Yeah.
Well, she could easily be like, succubus, like succubi of lore, or sirens leading men to their death. Or Medusa, even. If we're going with myth, she could be anyone, and also male characters, because changelings aren't set to one gender, which is one thing I also really liked about my character. Is I was like, I feel like being a boy today.
Right, she's kind of quintessential non-binary-ish thing. The thing about it is
gender fluid.
More gender fluid, I guess. But the thing about it is that we can have it that you mentioned a good point there too. I'm sorry, Nate, you're going to say something.
Oh,
did you say it already?
Well, I was going to say, this reminds me, especially because I'm thinking of the fact that it's myth, but it's set in the present, and then but the character itself is a character that lends itself more to myth. But it reminds me a little bit. We could kind of go a little bit of the direction of like American Gods, where we have these having mythological beings living among normal people, and we're in a small town. So I think that would fit. Like, there's a whole storyline within American Gods where, and I'm talking about the book. I'm not talking about that TV show that but the book, there's this whole storyline of him in a town. Like, he kind of gets, like, Wednesday stashes the main character Shadow away in a town for a little while to, so that way kind of keep him safe, I guess, and also so Wednesday can go do some shady stuff. And I think it's like I'm kind of getting that idea. Like, I'm getting that like maybe this character is hiding among changelings tend to hide and among this small town, and for reasons that we can figure out later.
No, but that's a great idea. I think what's best about that is you could have it that they're either both doing that, or the Temptress may already be there and Yule shows up trying to hide out, do her thing, essentially, and they clash with each other because essentially they're on the same stomping grounds, and it's almost like they're competing against each other on some level. Obviously, the changeling's trying to be low key and do her thing, but she's still a changeling. She's still undercover, and she may notice some shenanigans that are going on with what the Temptress or the Muse are doing, and it's kind of like affecting her game too. So yeah, we could definitely have lots of potential with that idea of them both being in this moment.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. My
No,
brain was going like 100 miles per hour because I was like, well, even like, do my character, the Temptress, and the Muse have to be different people?
They do not.
No.
Because
They could
she's
be
the
the same.
changeling. She could be the Temptress and the Muse.
She could. She could. It's definitely possible. It just means we have to kind of figure out who to balance her out with, other people, other characters. But that's perfectly fine. We can definitely do that. Yeah.
Kind of opens us up a little bit, so that way we can kind of do some other things.
It does open us up.
You know.
So in that case, do you want to have it, creator and writer supreme Morgan? Do you want this? You mentioned before the idea of like Medusa and other types of characters from classic mythological lore and everything else. Do you want her to, or like a succubus? Do you want it to be that she, in fact, may be something like that? Like she could have gone to this small town. She may have left the big city, come to this small town, but she still needs prey to feed on, or to do her thing, or to have fun with. And
I think the way my character is that she would just do it for the fun of it.
Okay.
For the lulz.
Yeah, just out of like that's when I was developing my character sheet and I had like my ideals and like traits and stuff, it was just she's just wild.
Right.
Right. And also what's funny is like with the muse thing being rolled is that one of the ideals I have is like, it's like just creativity, like never running the same con twice.
Right.
So, I mean.
Ooh. No, when you said that, creativity and con, the first thing that came to my mind is seeing Yule in a kind of a little bar, shady bar, saloon or something in this small town, and she's pretty much playing poker with some people. And the idea is pretty much that it's a temptress. She's tempting them with either with greed or with money, that kind of stuff. And it's more like a deal of like, how about the person is pretty much out of money, and she says, well, how about this? How about you sell me something very valuable to you, something that's incredibly worthwhile, and it could either be like their soul or something really big. It's the whole idea. She's tempting them, and it's a really big prize. And it may be that our character, the person that opposes her, loses. She's not really a villain or evil. She, like you said, she's chaotic neutral. She's just a really good gambler, and she's causing people to lose all kinds of things because she keeps winning.
I mean, then that might be like a sort of some moral wiggle room. Like if they're the ones to bet it, then she's not really taking anything from them. They're offering.
Yeah, it's all offered. I mean, in that sense, and so as far as myth goes, I mean, she could almost be like a demon type character.
Right.
Maybe she's
like
given the title. Maybe she's given the title of demon. Not necessarily that she is one, but it's what the locals call her, and they don't actually know that it's her because she changes her form.
Yes, and it could be also, we're saying, like we mentioned American Gods, and she's been hiding out. We don't know how long she's been there. She could have been in this town for who knows how long. She's hiding out from the other gods, the other bigger entities, and she's trying to keep a low profile. We have no idea how, what do you say, Nate?
Oh, I had a thought. Because there's always, when you have characters like this where they're in a town for a really long time, there's and there's always this question of, well, if they've been there for and there's a character in American Gods in that thing that's there forever, and there's this question like, don't you think somebody's going to notice that the hot chick down the street's been there since the 1920s, especially in a small town. So I think it would be interesting if it would be that she's a changeling, and so every now and again she leaves and then like a couple months later comes back as somebody else, and then spends like 20 years and then goes away and then comes back, just kind of wanders back into town because she knows like maybe the town is like a conduit, like maybe it's a travel point, where a lot of people are moving through it, so it's a great place for rubes, for her to get to grift people. And so she it's like her spot, and then maybe something else, another mythical creature stumbles upon this town, and then it's like a like get
out of my house. This town ain't big enough for the both of us.
Exactly.
What were you gonna say, Morgan?
No, I said like a battle for the town. Like that's
that's what it. Yes, that'd be awesome if it ends up being, that's what the actual stakes end up being. It's a battle for the town.
Actually, I really like that. That's very like simple, and you can create a lot of drama there, especially if whoever's moving in is like a powerful demon of some kind.
Or an angel. I mean, it's very fluid as to whether they're good or bad. It almost doesn't even matter. But I love the idea you mentioned, Nate, as far as it may be on a monthly cycle or yearly, whatever it might be. This is a nexus point. This is a very important town, even though it seems really small and it can, just kind of very easy to dismiss it. It just happens to be the very important place, right over top of like a fault line or some kind. And so Yeah,
Well,
and she may leave and come back. Go ahead, Nick. Go ahead, Morgan.
Sorry, my brain starts going. I'm like, wait.
Yeah, don't stop it. Don't stop it.
So I mean, it could be that this town. So we're talking myth. Could be like particular. You said like a conduit type town. What if this small town just happens to be like a protected location of a god in whatever pantheon? Doesn't have to be like one that actually exists. For my boyfriend's came out, but I've come up with pantheons, which is like really fun. But
Right.
what if like this location is like the favorite township or whatever of a god, and so it's particularly rich in something, whether it's like
maybe it's like a type of magic.
yeah, well, let's say, I mean, so Yulin is like chaotic by nature. What if we have like a chaos god that
Yes, she's not the actual god of chaos, but she goes to meet. She ends up meeting the god of chaos. Yeah.
So like we have like a god of chaos, another one maybe, or it's the favored town of a god of chaos, and so that god, has it so that the town is never settled. You know what I mean? It's always flux, it's always wild, it's always changing, and so that's why Yulin prefers it, because she doesn't even really need to fly under the radar as much. She can just adapt to it just because chaos is her.
Yes, and it could be we can have both our cakes and eat both of them too. As far as it could be that Yulin is kind of a high plains drifter. She does go from town to town, spot to spot, and she goes to points of energy because she is in tune with that kind of stuff. She is a temptress of sort of things. Well, she's a changeling, so she needs different avenues for energy. And she ends up, she happens upon this town. We'll call it, like Tom Hanksville or whatever. And so when she's at this place, it just so happens this one place, like you mentioned, is under the jurisdiction of this actual god, this actual Loki type of thing. So it becomes a battle between super temptress versus Loki, essentially. And like you said before, the stakes could be they're almost vying for supremacy of this town. This is a great place. It has a really big magic epicenter. And so they're both, instead of poker chips, they're playing for people's souls or whatever it is, whatever gives them this source of energy. So it becomes a battle between the two of them, a full-blown like Moriarty, Sherlock Holmes type of battle between these two beings, essentially.
Well, see, I was thinking maybe, I mean, that is good, but I was kind of thinking if this town is just like one favored by chaos god, whatever, what have you, but a like lawful god tries to come through and change the essence of this town, and
that would work.
That is like contradictory to what Yulin needs and favors or values in this town.
Yeah, you can't throw law into chaos. Yeah. Doesn't work.
So we've got this like lawful, good, like celestial type,
Yeah.
So would it be
like,
three?
Set this town straight.
It's three. Those are the three main people. Then is like the god of chaos, the lawful god, and then Yulin, or would there be no? Was there? So are we still doing the god of chaos and the god of?
So
order?
if she's serving a god of chaos, right?
I would say, yeah. I mean, it sounds like. I mean, so my character is supposed to be.
Or she could be a minor god, like a minor nature god of chaos.
She could be even a demigod, or
she could be like a god of storms or something. That's chaotic.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, nature is pretty chaotic.
Nature is chaotic. Yeah. That's,
yes. Okay.
Well, I just picture this as far as conflict. I picture this, person trying to come in and just alter what it is about this town that makes it home.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the town in and of itself is chaos.
Yeah.
Incarnate, more or less. Okay. What were you gonna say, Nate?
I was gonna say I like this idea, and I think because we're dealing with chaos, what I kind of envision, the thought that came into my head was, she shows up in this town, just like realizes it's the kind of a chaotic place which she's drawn to. She wants to hang out. The chaos god, being chaotic, is kind of like me no likey, and so there's like kind of a mini conflict at the beginning of the story of like him being like, okay, no, my town, I'm God, you're not, to try there, and then all of a sudden this celestial being that maybe isn't a god but maybe like I'm gonna say like a harbinger or something, saying like, All right,
Yeah.
guys, just to let you know, my God, Mr. Straight Lace over here, he's coming in here and just gonna, so I'm here to kick your ass before he comes in. And if any of you are left, he's gonna kick your ass. And then the chaotic god and Yulin kind of look at each other and go, let's set aside our shit. We gotta deal with this.
Right,
You know.
right, exactly.
Yeah,
I like that. And the thing is,
I like
too,
that.
is it could be that Yulin, because Yulin is a changeling, Yulin can go undercover, can deliberately, the god of light, god of law, essentially, or the harbinger. It's called a harbinger. You like that? The harbinger is aware of who the god of chaos is. And he's kind of, like you can't be. He's kind of like Hobbes from Hobbes and Shaw. He's a big dude. Like you can't keep doing this stuff. This is against the law. I'm absolute. It's only this way, this way, this way. And because our demigod or our temptress is able to kind of work outside the confines of restrictions that the gods have, she can transform. She can be something else. She can actually try to tempt the lawmen over to their side. And that's kind of what the real conflict is her trying to sway the lawmen and working alongside the actual god of chaos and actually try to sway the town to be more into favoring chaos itself, or be more favoring freedom as opposed to rules and everything else. So yeah, that makes it perfect. I think that's a good dynamic right there.
Awesome.
I like it.
Okay, perfect. All right. So I love the opening that you had. Essentially, the opening is if we have it that our High Plains drifter, she walks in there, she strolls in there. I guess she's more or less looking as normal as possible. She's not trying to cause too much of a scene, but she sees the town. This Tom Hanksville is already like having a party. Basically, it's pretty much already the bomb. It's literally a town of chaos, and it's got all kinds of energy going on. There would have to be some kind of, you said there's got to be some kind of a quick showdown between these two, the Loki-esque type of god and the Temptress. So how you want that to shake out?
I was kind of envisioning, and we can go with anything, but I was kind of envisioning, she shows up, she sees like, hey, this is my kind of town. She sits down to a table to, play poker or, pool or whatever. And she's wiping the floor with everybody. She's just, doing what she does. She's getting the energy she needs to get, whatever it is. And she's living life for a little bit, for a couple of days. And then one day she sits down at the table, ready to run it. And there's one guy she can't beat.
She can't win. She can't beat. Yeah, perfect. Because
And,
if they're playing games of chance and he is chaos, he can kind of sway things so chaotically. Not that he's even trying to win. It's more that she can't control what's happening. It's beyond her reach. Yeah.
Well, that's because he's like, she's been controlling it because she can control chaos, being a chaotic type person. Maybe like, I don't know, maybe we can give her that power. I don't know.
More in tune with it, at least.
More in tune,
yeah. More in tune
where
with it,
he's actually controlling it. Like he's Scarlet Witching it. And then that's when they discover like
that they both have. Yes.
Whoops.
Well, because part of it is too with the. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Ari. Is Ari?
I was just gonna say it's like the Spider-Man pointing meme.
Yes. Exactly. Because that's the beauty of it is that we don't know all the players are going to be involved in this story yet. So we think if we're following our lead, we're following our Temptress. We don't know that, of course, there's other gods coming into the scene. So if you see her wiping the floor with everybody that comes in, it's gonna be lots of fun for the actual introduction of our god. For him we don't even know he is a god. He sits at the table, and we don't even know that he's controlling. He's keeping it so that she can't win. That anytime she pulls her cards out, she gets a 2 and a 7 or whatever it might be. It's a great idea. It's perfect. One thing that we can also do is that if she is a Temptress, her main go-to strategy is to tempt the people she's playing against. So she could be losing in a hand and pretty much distract the guy or try to sway him over, charm him, or female, whatever it might be. That's her power, is to basically use that kind of stuff to kind of tempt people to the point where they can't play properly. That's her trump.
What if we also found her? I'm not trying to make this a romance, but if she's like inexplicably also like just drawn to this person that she can't beat, both because he is beating her, which is I feel like she would find that intriguing, infuriating, but intriguing.
It's also the first time she's never been not been able to beat somebody, and she doesn't know what's going on.
And so I feel like she would kind of like pulled between these feelings of intrigue and just straight up, I want to kill you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I know. I apologize, Nate. You may not get this. I'll try to think of a different reference.
Stop that.
Well,
Just do the reference, dude.
No, I don't want to alienate you. That's all. But I see it almost like Faye Valentine is our changeling temptress, and then Spike Spiegel walks into the bar, and she's like, Why can't I beat you? What's going on here? Do you know that reference, Sergey?
No, but
okay.
Probably stop.
Okay, but that's how I see it in my mind. But it's more or less a very kind of attractive young woman that's able to sway over people. She's very charming as well and charismatic. And this guy that has kind of a loose necktie, just rolls up like a James Bond on vacation type of dude. Swaggers in there, and she can't defeat him. She has no idea what's going on, and it's not even. He's not even trying to be braggadocious about things. It's very casual, and she just can't figure out what's going on.
Yeah, it has to be a natural swagger, because I can't picture Mulan at all intrigued by machismo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would be immediate put off. Like, that wouldn't work. So it has to be this natural aura, and it's because it's a god.
Right.
And it is essentially her god.
Mm-hmm.
Even though she's she's Druid, so she's nature, but being her chaotic nature, this is essentially a god that she would worship. Which were she worshiping?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Okay. I'm sorry. I need to let my dog out really quickly. She's whining.
That's okay. Okay. So I think we have literally we have the table set then in that instance. And it doesn't have to be as simple as a romance. You don't have to. It's more complicated than a romance. We can have it that she is attracted to him too, or they're into each other. That could play well into the whole idea of them teaming up against the lawman in the end. But there is still a edge. She still does want to beat him. She develops an obsession with trying to beat him. She can't figure out what's going on, and he never lets on that he's a god. She never has any reason to believe he is. It could have it that she's never even encountered another one, to the best of her knowledge. So it's Do we want to have it? Here's the thing, though, as far as audience privilege, not audience privilege, but character privilege. Do we want to have it that our god knows who she is? Who's aware that if they are a god.
I mean, if he's a god.
Yeah. Because I feel like, it's kind of piggybacking off the American Gods thing. American Gods, the gods are powered by belief and praise in them, right? So, essentially, even without actively praising this god, by being chaotic by nature and causing chaos everywhere she goes, she is inadvertently supporting this god.
Yes.
So he would see her as a kind of conduit for power,
yes,
because she is creating what he needs.
Right. She's literally feeding him, and he doesn't even know it. Yeah.
Yeah, I could almost see it like a like in the part where he's he's keeping her from winning and everything, and I almost get a vibe where like when he is basically confronting her saying you need my town. I can almost see him saying, but I've always liked you. You've always been one of my favorites, but you get a little too close, or whatever.
Yeah, like maybe I've always liked you, but also maybe this god has a slight fear of her because she has some sort of, maybe she doesn't know.
Yeah.
Okay, so
has some sort of latent godlike ability, and she could become this god.
Of course.
Yeah,
yes,
that's exactly what I was thinking. Like she's a threat to his godliness, because she's like in this ley line power spot, just taking up all the power, and he's like, okay, I should probably stop this woman before she replaces me as a god of chaos.
Exactly, 100%. Because I mean, obviously, one, it's literally his town. I mean, not literally, he doesn't own the deed to it, but it's his territory. Any god is going to be territorial. Plus, he's a dude. He's a guy. Guys get threatened easily by women. It just happens. So if you have it,
it doesn't have to be the case in this world, my friend.
Well, I mean, traditionally, mythologically, if it's myth and it's gods are very petty. We know gods.
Also, if you're saying gods are easily, they get like whatever you just said about women.
Well, I think just gods can just be threatened in general.
A funny moment would be a funny moment, and like just me, like from my like personality. A funny moment would be if she's talking to him, she finds out he's a god, and he's like, you need to back off, and she's like, why are you feeling threatened by me? And he just turns into a man. She's a
Right. Yeah, we gotta have fun with her stuff.
That would be some quality moment, like
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, we gotta have some more for
that. Like brought it all. That's why I couldn't get a sentence out, because my brain's like sentence stories.
But that's a great idea too, as far as the plant and payoff. We got to plant the idea, because we could have it pretty easily that the audience sees the temptress, Yule, that we see Yule as one being for the majority of the story, and then we don't see that she can transform into different shapes, essentially, or different people, possibly, until she does it in front of the god of chaos, and that's kind of when we get that idea. But then that's also what, once the god of chaos realizes that she can do that, that's when he wants to use her ability to when the lawman shows up too. So yeah, we got to have that part in there. It's fun for a joke, but also it does plant things pretty well for the story. Okay, cool. So I guess what it would be then is essentially once they've shown their hands on some level, once it's become clear to the god of chaos that she is in fact much more than just a regular person. Once that happens, he might in turn kind of tell her a little bit more about himself, that she might say, what are you? I know you're not a regular person. You're something beyond. You're not just regular. You're something. And he goes, yes, you're right. And he might even have to say exactly what he is, but he can just leave it at that, basically kind of alluding to the idea that he's beyond a mere mortal.
Maybe he'd tell her a little bit about herself.
Okay.
Maybe she doesn't recognize this latent power that she has. And so he tells her a little bit about herself, and she's highly intelligent, so she would eventually figure out.
Right.
Well, yeah, I think because there's nothing more unnerving than having someone you have no idea who the hell they are start telling you things about you.
Yeah.
Like, that will set anybody on edge. And so I could see that as definitely like having just that scene where it's like, okay, now what the hell's going on? And and then he just starts giving her life story, and also sprinkling in a little bit here and there, like, and also you don't know, but he doesn't want to give her. I don't think he wants to give her too much, because he doesn't want to be like, and you potentially could be more powerful than me and take over my role.
Yeah, I don't think he would say that at all, because
he would never say that. That'd be showing his hand too much. And he doesn't get too specific. I mean, you don't have to get too specific either to scare somebody with some things. It's just a few things. But then also it could be with her, for the first time we see this person who's seemingly just been so carefree and just chaotic. So you see her kind of actually genuinely afraid, genuinely vulnerable, I guess is the better word. And she does kind of quietly says, who are you? And he might say something like, the better question is, what am I? Kind of alluding to the idea he's not just a person or something like that.
Or he could be like, I'm someone you've known your whole life, or something like that.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
I like that.
Just to like further hint that he's like
her
that she knows him.
Yeah, she's been serving him even though she didn't know it. Maybe even praying to him and didn't know it, kind of thing.
Yeah, in her way, which
in her
not
own
really
way.
Praying.
Yeah,
but.
Right. Yeah, exactly. If she feeds off of chaos herself, or has used chaos to get as far as she has, she's pretty much been serving him and praying to him. So yeah, we can definitely do that and have him have a sly little smile like James Bond would, essentially, and show that she's still kind of not certain what's going on. It could become clearer that he is in fact a god, essentially, when the lawman, the real god of order, essentially, does show up, possibly. But right now, we can leave it a little ambiguous on purpose, I think.
Yeah, I think having her realize that he's a god of chaos, and maybe even, like she knows the god of chaos, that knows him specifically when the lawman shows up, because when the lawman reveals it, and she looks at him and is like, the fuck you say? Like, you're that person?
Definitely leave it like that. Like Ari said, you know me your whole life. You don't recognize me, something like that, and have her kind of clearly freaked out, also having the audience freak out too. We don't know what's going on. And like you said, Nate, once the lawman, the law god, whatever, shows up, that's when it's kind of more definitive.
And I feel like, I feel like when the lawman shows up, and reveals him as a god, right? Instead of her being like, what the fuck? I can see her just smiling because it's just adding this layer of fuckery to
Yeah.
it. So she's
Yeah.
Like, you son of a bitch.
I mean,
You know?
Right.
they would
Well,
both
plus-
they would both realize that it's like it's more chaos.
It's more
Yeah.
chaos.
So-
but plus, it's also someone that's there to fuck him over, the actual god of chaos, who she's been having problems with. So yeah, she's
Yeah.
also happy about that.
And
Yeah.
then the lawman character who we're gonna I like how we're making the lawful person the bad guy, but
Of course.
this lawful
They
character
usually are.
and that's his first mistake. His first mistake is sowing that seed.
Mhm.
Right.
He
Right.
doesn't
Yeah.
it's for a purpose.
So yes, but
Go
here's
ahead,
another
go
thing
ahead.
too. I was gonna say real quick, Ari, was just introductions. Again, we don't know that we're dealing with gods. Let's not just throw it out there. What if it's another situation where she's trying to have fun, either gambling or doing whatever she's doing, and the lawman shows up. She tries to tempt him or whatever it is, use her powers on him, and he's able to shut it down immediately. Just completely shut it down because he's obviously order. He's the law. It's kind of another way where she would recognize this is something, another thing that's beyond me. What's going on here? And he may not be. Of course, he makes it clear he's not after her, but he may ask her about the actual Loki type of god, essentially.
Yeah, I was just about to say, like, what if the god of chaos is revealed to her as like the actual god of chaos by the lawman, who's like, listen, you don't have to hang out with that guy. You can be like, what are you doing? Living your life with this god of chaos, you can be so much better. And she's like, wait a second.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that would,
All right, you know what's funny is that I just realized it's almost like you're setting up a love triangle, not love triangle, but like it's almost like both sides are pulling at her. Literally law and literally chaos are both kind of trying to play her against the other in a way, which is interesting. Yeah, that could be fun.
Yeah, I think that would almost be interesting to have as part of the plot, where like once that happens, I think there should be a period of time within the story that you don't know, because the god of chaos has been such a shit up to this point, and it seems like, oh, okay, so now she has an out, but that does mean that she does have to walk the straight and narrow, at least for a little bit, and you kind of wonder. And then it comes out that she sides with the god of chaos because, like, obviously she's chaotic. That's what she's going to do. But have it be maybe ambiguous for not a very long time, but a short time in the middle of the story.
Yeah, that's the fun. We want some twists.
Obviously, she's chaotic, is what she's gonna do. But one of the most chaotic things she could do would be to team up with the lawful god.
It's you wouldn't see it coming.
It's the Spanish Inquisition.
you never see it coming. Yes. Also, it could be. I mean, kind of. The way I see it, we have to do this. I'm not sure. You guys can oppose me all you want, but I really want this to happen. Is for it to be somewhat of a Kaiser Sose, where she finds a way to get the better of both of them in the end.
I was actually thinking the same thing.
Yeah, same.
Okay.
I want her to become the god of chaos.
Yeah, that's actually like once we hit that, I was like, this needs to happen.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. That has to be it. She has to find a way to either get the two of them so much on each other that they eliminate each other, or
this is not going to happen, but it just sprung into my mind anyway, because you were like, well, it might be a love triangle scenario, and I'm just like, all right, so what if she sets them up instead
to date each other? Yeah.
To date each other. They could take care of each other over there in the corner while she ascends to godhood.
It's like the harbinger shows up and he's like, you do not have to hang out with him, though he is damn sexy.
Makes it clear he's into him. Makes it clear that is his type. It makes it clear that it's his type. Yeah.
I mean, there would be a draw there because order is drawn to order chaos, and also chaos is entropy is drawn to order. So I'm like,
so we can have it that they are into each other. You can make it clear they actually are. There's a sexual tension between the two of them.
I think
it could be like a bromance. They become like best friends.
They could do that too. It could be
they could do that too.
Whatever. Yeah.
Well, we also have to remember too that at least
She can date both of them. Why can't she have both?
She can have a menage a trois.
It could be a monogamous, or no, a polygamous. There we go. That's the opposite.
That's the Mormon. Yeah.
One thing I was going to say is that I've been saying the harbinger, so that I think it would be interesting as part of the way to maybe have something like that happen, because it is a harbinger, and then maybe the way, instead of her eliminating the chaos god, maybe making him just a lesser, making him like like knocking him down a peg to maybe demigod, and he's just like
Right.
he's like she helps him and makes it where you can keep this town, you can keep this stuff, you're fine, I'm gonna move on because now I'm the god of chaos.
Right.
But so I'm gonna give you that, but I'm also gonna but I'm gonna take your god of chaos thing and
So-
screw over the lawful god.
Ooh, I do like that
I
being
do too.
the twist where it's like, all right, you can have this town, but I'm taking the godhood.
Yeah.
Right.
It's
Yeah,
where
well,
she like
well-
trades something.
Well, that's
far
the
as
thing.
kids go, I was thinking, like, wouldn't it be crazy if he's telling her about herself and she's playing ignorant, but she knew the whole time
Hmm.
Yeah,
needed
full
this
conscious, so saying, yeah.
and needed this to ascend into godhood.
To the
And
point where she literally walked to that town on purpose. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so at the end,
Ooh.
when the god is talking about after she ascends, she could be like, you were so worried about my threat to your godhood, you were trying to stop it, you didn't realize you were feeding it the whole time.
Yeah.
Yes,
You know,
yes. So I love, we have to do that. That's what we have to do. We have to go full Kaiser Soze.
Yep.
Yeah, one thing I want to say is that we probably should plant in some kind of a rule as to how a god could lose their powers or have their powers demoted, and how another demigod could be promoted to full god, essentially, either be in a contest or.
Praise.
I'm sorry.
I feel like it'd just be a matter of praise if she was able to get more
praised
people doing chaotic things in her name.
in her
Yeah.
direct name. Yeah,
Yeah, it's basically
fine.
like
That's
a
fine.
insert coin, receive
Yeah.
prayer
Yeah.
or something like that, because
He's causing enough, before he was the one causing it, but it's
Yeah.
and she got there first. She knew all along, and she had the upper hand all along.
Yes. Yeah. So it could be. Yeah. It could be also we have it that this small town, is very important. It's the epicenter. It could be that on a certain equinox, that's when the time is the most important for it. And she knows that by midnight of this day, it's a certain thing. And her plan, of course, is to have the town, more of the town, praising her in chaotic, fashion by name than him. That's her whole plan from square one.
Yeah.
And she knows that with the lawman will come. I'm sorry, go ahead, Nate.
Well, I was just gonna say that with the lawman, she can play them off each other and
That's the point.
get the lawman to do things that the chaos god wouldn't do because he knows it would lose him his power, but the lawman doesn't know because he is only familiar with the law stuff. He's not
Yes.
familiar with chaos.
And even
Also,
the lawman arriving could I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was saying the lawman arriving, it could be something that she didn't even plan, but her thought is, well, I didn't plan for this, but what do I plan for?
Yeah.
Like I just thrive off this, like riding the wave type thing, and this has happened. Like I can use this.
Right.
Yeah, because
Yes.
like the lawman arriving is a unexpected, chaotic event, and
Yeah.
also
Right.
just gonna slip this in here, because she's a changeling. She's a changeling, so she can look like either one of them.
Ah, that's
Right.
true.
It
Right,
would
that's
be
another
cool
element.
to have like scenes where we, the audience, think that it's
Oh.
the
Yep.
lawman,
That we're seeing.
but it's
whatever.
actually her.
Yeah, right. That's how deep she is from the jump.
yeah.
Yeah, and there could even be scenes where we see earlier on where it seems like we're watching. She actually came to the town before we, the audience, believe we saw her walk into the town. Turns out she went there earlier in disguise as another person and did an investigation on this god. So when it gets to the actual montage at the end showing how she did all this stuff, her full-blown Ocean's 11 kind of montage, we see that she actually was posing as a regular random dude watching the god of chaos do his thing for a while. So it's we can have lots of fun with her chasing abilities.
I think it would be interesting along those lines is to almost have it where in the story there are, like in the story there are many scenes where she isn't in the scene, you think,
But she
and
is.
and I'm not
She
even
is.
and I'm not even meaning like the main like the two people in, like it could be the chaos god and the harbinger are together chilling and she's the bartender,
Right, yes.
and that
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
thing.
Yeah, that's of course. Then that's the yes. This is going. What I want this to be so badly is very much like one of those kind of movies you had to watch multiple times to like, oh, that's what she was there, or is she there, and even wondering sometimes. Wait a minute, was it actually her? That person, I wasn't sure. It could be she could be anybody. She could be anybody. And I love the idea too of them. Even the god of chaos could at one point, kind of like realize, wait a minute. As he slowly dawns on him, he's getting played, or might figure out he's been played. As he looks back and tries to think, like, wait a minute, all those times that she was here or there, where was she really? That'd be fun to see him slowly realizing what's going on.
Now I'm gonna take a second and nerd here, because we are talking about gods, and we're going to have people going, he's a god, so he would totally be able to see through a changeling. So let's shut those morons up, and let's add a function somewhere. Maybe when maybe we can add it in the montage at the end or something. It can be a Deus Ex Machina. I don't know, but we can maybe add something that makes it where she like an artifact or a thing that she gets at the beginning of the story, that she has, that seems benign, but it is a thing that essentially makes it that the Chaos God cannot recognize her when she changes.
I think we can have lots. That can be an easy plan. It could be literally we see her playing with a little die or coin, special coin, she says, and he could say, "What's that?" And say, "Well, it's a lucky coin." And she could literally say, "It's my lucky coin." Turns out it's a lucky totem that keeps him from being able to see what she is. And we could have it that later on. Sorry, go ahead.
I don't know. Sorry, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
No, all I was going to say is we can see that's kind of a tell later on in the montage. You see a person sometimes flicking a coin, or a person using a coin to pay for something, and that's how you recognize. Wait a minute, that's always her. In that, yeah. I'm sorry, what did you say? Ari?
Ori, yes, Ori.
Ori, I'm sorry, I'm hungry for Oreos. That game was too hard, but yeah.
Okay, so all right, so obviously she's a changeling, so she was left. If we're doing the myth route, where she was left in place of a human child. So what if there was something left with her, like a little totem, that she's had her entire life, which helps her stay hidden.
Yes.
And undetected by, I don't know, we could go, they intended it to be like, oh, the Unseelie court is after you, so you should probably hide. But it turns out that, I don't know, that might be like too much of a cop-out, but it's something I thought of.
It's a pretty easy way to excuse Colosso, because she could simply say to him when he asks, "What is that?" She could say, "It's a lucky coin I've had with me since I was a baby, or since I was a kid," something like that. So it seems like an offhanded comment the first time you hear it. Then when you think about it later on, it's revealed actually it literally was what she's had since she was a kid. It literally is lucky. It's literally kept her alive. So it's not, she's not lying to him. She actually is telling the truth, but he doesn't really think
That's
about
almost it can't be a coin. Because that's almost like too
easy. Yeah, we can figure something else out.
Yeah. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah.
It should be a totem, though. I agree. It's a simple. It can't be anything too big or gaudy. Well, but it's something that's.
So I mean, we don't have to go from where she's pulled from. She's in a new story now, but she in the campaign she carries mistletoe. It's her thing of focus, but she could just have it like braided through her hair, like something like.
Perfect. Yeah.
Ooh,
perfect. Yeah. And then it could be that. Yeah. When her and James Bond, whatever, in bed, he could make a comment. Like, he could actually kind of brush against her hair, saying, "What is this?" It could seem like pillow talk, and she says, "Then, kind of, yeah." So yeah, it's very, very easy.
Suddenly we have pillow talk.
I'm just saying, if we had to, we have to have exposition sometimes.
And it's like, thing, what happened?
If we have to do exposition, why not have it when after they just blinked?
And I like how he doesn't define who. Like it's, just her and somebody. We'll figure it out later.
I mean, odds are be the god of chaos, but whatever.
It could be anyone.
It could be anyone.
I think. I also think it would be so that way it doesn't seem like, and I know we're spending a lot of time on this, but I think it's a pretty big function of the story. I think it would be interesting to have it be that the Chaos God, particularly the Chaos God, is interested in it and maybe brings it up more than once, not too many times, but just a couple of times, like sees it again and be like, almost like I'm almost getting like a Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man, the way he was poking at the Hulk. Or he was poking at Bruce Banner in the one scene in the Avengers, trying to get him to turn into the Hulk. Like, I kind of get that feel. Like him constantly like, hey, well, tell me about that thing again. I'm kind of interested in it. Just trying to get the secret out. But then it kind of like eventually he just kind of gives up because he's like, all right, I'm just not going to get it. And then it's revealed later that's what it is.
So what we could do with this pillow talk aside, could just be one of those elements. It could even be in the first encounter they have with each other. He could make a comment. That's a nice thing in your hair. She can make a comment about it. It could almost be a runner in the story that he's trying to figure out the story behind that thing in her hair. She always has it, essentially. And she always doles out small fragments about, I had it since I was a kid, it's been my lucky charm, it always goes with everything I'm wearing, something like that. And then he never knows the full story. And then maybe during the Kaiser Soze moment or whatnot, it's kind of more revealed, essentially, it's more details behind the full story of it and whatnot. But yeah, But that's I love that. That's definitely our solid start for this. We've pretty much hit our time. But so Morgan, will you be able to come back for us to finish this story off?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Awesome.
When next week?
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. I don't know
Same time.
Same
Yeah.
bat channel.
Same bat time, same bat mobile. What?
Yes. Same bat.
And the Joker
Discord.
got away. Same bat.
So speaking of chaos, Discord. Whee! Okay, so
Nice plug. Nice plug.
yeah, it's well, hey, they it kind of works anyway. So yeah, so that's about it. Does anybody have anything that they want to mention or anything before we wrap this puppy up?
Yes, real quick, just want to mention that we have an amazing sale going on over at echelonGnovels.com. 20% off if you enter the promo code BDaySuit for the month of March for my B-Day month. Birth month, not
Yes.
B-Day month, but B month. Yeah.
Yes. So be sure to check that out, and also be sure to. Oh, good. Sorry.
Oh no. I'm just gonna be funny, so don't even listen to me.
Oh no,
You can be
please.
funny. We
Please,
need it.
Lord knows I'm
We
on.
desperately need it. We
I
desperately
was like, well, I'm eventually going to write a book.
Oh, nice.
Oh.
Oh boy, what a mood.
Perfect.
So I'm putting it into the universe. This is what I'm doing right now.
Oh,
I'm
yes.
dispersing the
Because
universe.
it's now on record. It is now officially
is
on
now
record.
on
You can't
record.
take it back. Yeah.
Yes.
It's on the internet.
It's on the
Oh,
internet. That means-
it's
that
on the
means it gotta be
internet, so it
true.
must be true.
It's gotta
I
be-
need to get to writing. Got a lot of ideas.
Yeah, you're right.
Awesome.
But you obviously you're off to a great start helping us write this. So thank you so much, Morgan. We had a
Thank
blast
you.
having you back on.
Yes.
Can I
yes.
just
Thank you so
take
much.
this story? What if I just write this?
Yeah, you
Yeah,
can.
sure.
Yeah.
Go right ahead.
Yeah.
I'll
Please,
dedicate it
do.
to you.
Oh, thank you. If you forget
Awesome.
the dedication, if you just give us some royalties, any royalties, we are
Yeah.
all poor.
All right, I propose we do. I don't know. I'll do 60.
We'll figure it out.
60%.
Well, yeah.
60 for me.
Oh, 60-40. Oh, yeah.
That's yes,
Wow,
man.
that is damn.
That's generous as hell.
That's how I'm good. I'm a good person. I'm not bad at this. But it's like,
No.
so we like the way we found like our real life alignments was doing a campaign with my brother, and I was like, oh, I'm chaotic neutral. Blah blah blah. It's just me. It's who I am. And he was like, you're good. And eventually got to the point where I was like, I don't want to be good.
You're more lawful good, giving us 40%. Yeah.
That's not law. No.
Yeah.
Now you
Sorry.
can't. You've spoken, and now you are cut from the team.
Oh God. I'm so sorry. I damn myself again.
Yeah,
Yes.
now I'm getting 73, and the rest is divided between not you.
Between not you.
Between,
Wow.
Between not you.
If I had $1 every time I heard that alone,
Yes.
I'd be rich.
All right. Well, thank you again, everybody, for joining us. Be sure to check out our YouTube channel. Be sure to check out Twitch, as well as our various podcasts where you can get anywhere you can get your podcasts. So thank you again, and I hope y'all have a wonderful day.
At Geek Insider, we foster relationships with those in the geek sphere so we can give our audience the insider view of entertainment, tech, and more.
Early, so we can save some of this gold for next time.
Once upon a time, our storytellers gather, bringing with them only a set of dice, a scroll of magical story elements,